I think there are 6 Georgia Bulldogs who have a chance to shock people with how good they can be for the 2024 season. That's what I'm talking about in this video. These are guys that maybe casual Georgia fans don't really know a whole lot about yet. People from a national perspective definitely don't know who these players are right now. But 12 months from now, we could be talking about these 6 players being guys who just had their breakout season, who could be in line for an even bigger season next year. So I got 3 guys on offense. I want to talk about 3 guys on defense as my son continues to bounce up and down. Look at this. The kid's supposed to be sleeping, and he's ready to party. I'm ready to party right now. So let's jump into it real quick. Now, the first guy I want to talk about, wide receiver Anthony Evans. You may have seen him a little bit if you stayed and watched that entire Orange Bowl. If you didn't, I don't blame you. Georgia won the game by 100-something points. But he caught a pass from Gunnar Stockton late in that game that I thought was a really impressive catch for a guy known as a speedster. He was one of the fastest prospects in the country out of high school, just a blazer, a dude who can stretch the field. He's a weapon vertically. We saw him have a big-time punt return against Alabama at 28 yards, almost broke it and would have changed the game completely. This guy's electric, and I know that there's a lot of wide receivers ahead of him on the depth chart, guys who are returning, guys from the transfer portal, but I would not be surprised one bit if Anthony Evans turns into kind of an Arian Smith 2.0 who can help you in the screen game vertically and be a little more consistent. But he can also make a big-time catch in, tough one-on-one coverage. So he's shown the ability to make a big play, catching the ball, but his speed could help him to get on the field earlier and earlier, more and more throughout the 2024 season. It'll be his sophomore season. Year 2, wouldn't surprise me at all if he makes a big jump in year 2 and uses that speed to give Georgia another weapon offensively out of that wide receiver room. Defensively, my guy, Jordan Hall, 6'4", 320, is coming off a decent freshman season where he caught, he didn't catch anything, but he did appear in 10 games and made 10 tackles. But he was around the football. He caused, penetration up the middle from the interior. He was out there, causing some havoc. It may not look like that on the stat sheet, but he did make an impact. I think he's a guy who could have a monster year 2. He was a former 5-star. He's quick off the ball. He's big, strong, powerful. He's technically sound. And as he continues to develop his craft under this outstanding defensive staff, including Trey Scott, one of the best defensive line coaches in college football, I think Jordan Hall could be a big-time player next year as it relates to a breakout type of season for sure. So he's a guy on my list. They need someone to step up on the defensive line and be a game changer there. I think Jordan Hall has the potential to do so. It might, he might not be a game changer type, a true dominant interior defensive lineman until maybe year 3. But I think he could take a big step forward in year 2. So, again, a guy who I wouldn't be surprised if he has a really big year in year 2, because that would be huge for this defense and that defensive line. I'm going to go back to wide receiver real quick. This is a really good player, already one of the best players on the team. But I think Dillon Bell could turn into one of the best receivers in college football. Now, he's a guy that most Georgia fans know, right? He was excellent against Tennessee, made some big-time catches against Georgia Tech and Florida State where you're thinking, wow, this is a future NFL wide receiver. Runs like a running back after the catch. He's so versatile. Rushed for a $150, 157, 2 touchdowns, threw a touchdown pass to Marcus Rosemy-Jackson against Tennessee. He's a do-it-all weapon, right? He is a Swiss Army knife. That phrase gets thrown around to a lot of guys, probably too many guys. Dillon Bell's a Swiss Army knife, but I think if he can stay at wide receiver, if they have some multiple healthy backs, keep him at wide receiver, I think he has the potential to turn into a receiver who's really good into one of the best receivers in college football. It would shock a lot of people, would not shock me, because I think he is that good. I think he is going to be a truly dangerous weapon every single week. We saw it here and there, but there were other games where we didn't see him at all. It's because they had a lot of guys. This year, I think they're going to need him a little bit more. Now, they do have Dom Lovett. They've got Ra Thomas. They've got some guys, 3, in fact, who came in from the transfer portal. Colby Young from Miami is a guy I really have an eye on. But Dylan Bell is a really good route runner. He's got great hands, breaks tackles after the catch. He's a guy who I think has the potential to turn into one of the best receivers in college football. Defense, Damon Wilson. I talked to Damon Wilson. If you don't know who he is, he appeared in 12 games. He made 4 tackles last year. He's a true freshman, outside linebacker, 6'4", 235, former 5-star, a natural pass rusher. And I think he's going to get after the quarterback a lot this year. Now, they did move Michael Williams. I believe they moved him to that kind of stand-up hybrid edge defender who plays closer to the line of scrimmage, but, getting a guy who can kind of stand up at times and get the quarterback. Michael Williams can do that. Damon Wilson can do that too. Year 2 this upcoming season, I think he's going to have a very big year and give them another third down weapon who can really attack the quarterback. He's really good, and I think another year under this staff, he could turn into one of the best pass rushers in the SEC. But I talked to him after the Orange Bowl and said, hey, any thought about transferring? It seems like we're in an era of college football where if you come in as a freshman and you don't play, you just bounce. And without any thought, like, okay, I tried it here. I didn't play as a freshman. I'm leaving. He said, why would I leave? Why would I leave? There's a brotherhood here. I know how good of a player I can become if I, continue to work hard and stick it out here. I know I didn't start. I know I didn't play a ton, but I got in there some, and I'm a better player now because of it. And I am going to grow working under this staff. He kept talking and talking and talking. Couldn't believe I got that much out of him. I'm going to be writing a story about that over on Dawg Post. But he's happy to be in Athens. He knows his potential and how good he can be working with Glenn Schumann and this defensive staff. I think he has a big year 2 next year. I think he's going to flash consistently. Maybe not every single game, but I think he could be one of the team's leaders in sacks next year. And he is a guy that I think SEC fans, maybe fans nationally, are going to know his name 12 months from now. I think he is in store for a breakout season in year 2 in 2024. Last 2 guys, one on offense. This might come as almost a no-brainer. He's already really good. I'm talking about Trevor Etienne, the running back they got from Florida. He's an experienced guy, right? He's already done very good things at the collegiate level, rushed for 750 yards around there, maybe a little more than that. 8 touchdowns, 5'9", 205, a guy who can break tackles, get yards after contact. My son is still awake. He's still awake. I thought he was done, thought he was down and out. He's not. He's standing back up. But Trevor Etienne is a guy who I think could push for that 1,000 yards. That's what I'm trying to say. I think he could have a bigger year than many expect. Yeah, he's probably going to be RB1. I'm not saying this is a guy no one's ever heard of who becomes a starter and has this monster season. No, everyone knows about this kid. But if they're not completely healthy, they're going to rely on him a lot more than they would probably like to. Georgia wants to run 2 backs, basically, and then get a third in when they need to, get a fourth in when the game's getting over, right? When they need a fourth, they have that guy. They've got that depth. But if Branson Robinson is not 100%, if Andrew Paul's not 100%, Roderick Robinson, the freshman, for whatever reason, cannot, earn those reps, it could be Trevor Etienne at RB1, a decent gap, then maybe Branson Robinson or some of these other guys that I have mentioned who are in that running back room. It's very talented, but they need to be healthy, and they need Trevor Etienne to be healthy. If he is, and he does get most of the snaps, and he's not sharing the load, with another back consistently, and he's the main guy, I think he could have a very, very good season behind this offensive line. The way he runs, he's a touchdown machine, and he's a yards after contact guy. And I think he is going to be the team's leading rusher. But I think he has a chance to get to 1,000 yards and be one of the best running backs, not only in the SEC, but possibly across college football. So I think he, as good as he already is, could take another step up. Now, kind of running out of time, but I want to talk about this defender real quick because a lot of people are chirping. A lot of people have been hating on Dalton Everett. And yeah, there were times when it did not look very good. And there were times when he would get discombobulated and his guy would be wide open. We saw it, I think, in the Georgia Tech game, the Alabama game. I think maybe Ole Miss. I don't want to talk too much because I don't have the full numbers in front of me, right? But I think he's still better than people give him credit for. 6'1", 190, a bigger defensive back. So yeah, he's going to have a tougher time covering those electric, speedy wideouts who are faster than him and smaller than him. But that's on the coaches to get him either prepared for a wide receiver like that or to put him on the bigger receiver, right? Mix and match. But 29 tackles last year, 1 interception, 7 pass breakups. it didn't look great at times. And again, he wasn't better than Kamari Laster. And I'm not saying next year he's going to be as good as Kamari Laster was last year, who was very good. He might be a first-round pick. But Dalton Everett in year 3 under this staff, I think I'm expecting him to take a big step forward. He knows he's a returning starter. He knows his potential. This is a money year for him. I mean, former 5-star, they're thinking 3 years and out. Well, he's got to make a big improvement, significant improvement, really, if he wants to leave after this year and be a first, second-round pick. He's got a lot of work to do, but I think he's got the size and the natural talent, the ability to make that happen. In year 3, I expect him to be better next year and possibly become one of the best cornerbacks in the SEC. The staff is there to get it done. He has the natural talent to make it happen, but it's up to him. He's got to put in the work this offseason. I think he will, and I think he will have a much better year next year as a returning starter than he was this past season. So would not shock me if Dalton Everett completely turned his game around and became one of the best cornerbacks in the SEC. It would shock some people. Not saying it's going to shock me, but those are 6 guys that I think are going to take big steps next year and possibly be some, really, really impactful players for that 24 team. Thanks for watching this video. You can sign up to our free newsletter. That link is down below. I think little dude is out. He's laying down. I'm out. Thanks for watching this video. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you over on the website.